Oh, crap. I gotta hook it in. I didn't think about it. All right. And then I gotta do. And do that. Ha ha! Now, I should be able to hear you all. As well as myself. Test. There we go. Test. Perfect. Now I can hear. Okay. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Now it's only on my phone, though, which is, like, kind of unfortunate. Because I can't see the chat. As good. It's better. It's better. Because it's a little bit closer. But I'm going to have to, like, pay attention like a hawk. All right. Okay. Well, see, in times like this, that's why it's Whiskey Wednesday. We should have a sip until everybody rejoins, right? Pew! Well, the sounds are still working. That's good. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you all hear me? And does it sound like it's coming from this microphone right here? And not the phone. Yep. Okay. Good. All right, cool. Well, we tried. I tried to have the fancy-dancy things. But, the laptop's just too old to keep up. So that's fine. We fell back. Gave us a moment to sip a couple extra sips on our whiskey before we get back to our story. And I'll just start it over. So, hopefully the scratchiness is gone. Crossing our fingers. Okay, let's start this over, and then we'll go from here. Grab a sip of water, actually. Okay. Amanda going crazy with the clicker. All right. The Gibbering Mr. Cravat. Esho St. occult investigator and consulting detective, had plenty of time to make it to his appointment. Oh. Boop. I don't know why that gave me a message from there, but it did. All right, let's try this again. I wonder if I hear it. Investigator and consulting detective had plenty of time to make it to his appointment. Occult investigator and consulting detective had plenty of time to make it to his appointment. No, actually, I don't hear it, but it like cut me off in the middle of my sentence. All right. I don't know if you heard it, but there's like a boom on my computer. All right, let's try it again. Esho St. occult investigator and consulting detective, had plenty of time to make it to his appointment, but he wanted to be early. He stepped quickly across the bustling street, keeping an eye out for carriages. A few blocks of rapid walking brought him to an unmarked door off an alley. He rapped 3 times in quick succession and followed that with 4 slower knocks. The woman who answered was small-boned with fine features, but nothing about her said she was fragile. A wicked smile outlined in crimson stood in stark contrast to porcelain skin and jet-black hair. Her dark blue dress fitted her closely, and though she was a good 20 years older than Esho, he still found her ravishing. "Good to see you again, Esho. Come in." He walked in and took off the bowler, nearly as dark as his ebony skin. "How are you today, Madame Francesca?" She shook the hat? She kind of took it, though. She took the hat and overcoat and hung them on pegs. Yeah, okay, there's a real weird pause. Give me a second. Let me shore that up. "How are you today, Madame Francesca?" She took the hat and overcoat and hung them on pegs. Okay, there we go, after the catch breath. Pegs. "I'm fine, thank you. Are you here to see one of the girls?" She looked up at him and winked. He shook his head with a smile. "Not today. I have a client meeting me here this morning. I understand he frequents your establishment, and we agreed that discretion you're known for would serve us both well today." She nodded. "Wow! That definitely came through. I can't remember what I put that like sound in there for, but I love the interruption of it regardless. So whatever that was, thank you so much. It doesn't like tell me what it came in on. I think it might be somebody like following. Thank you for the follow if that's the case. Wow. She nodded. Yeah, you can. She nodded. You can hear it. Okay. Dang. She nodded. Of course. She led him down a hall, past doors that he knew led to sitting rooms, bedrooms, and other more specialized rooms. Some had a blue ribbon tied on the knob. The other knobs were bare. She took him to a door near the end of the hall. The knob was bare, and she opened it for him. You wait here. I'll bring you some coffee and brandy. Who's the visitor? He's known to you as Mr. Cravat. She smiled knowingly. Not surprising. He seemed troubled of late. Nothing the girls can do for him has taken away the edge. I hope you can help him. I don't like how I did that. Let's do it again. Not surprising. She smiled knowingly. Not surprising. He's seemed troubled of late. Nothing the girls can do for him has taken away the edge. I hope you can help him. He stepped into the small room. 2 wingback chairs faced a small fireplace. A recently stoked coal fire radiated soothing, dude. A recently stoked coal fire radiated soothing warmth. Small bookcases on either side of the hearth held books in a host of languages, some of them titillating and others more cerebral. He unbuttoned his jacket and took a seat. Sure that he would have a few moments, he took a seat. Took a seat. Sure that he would have a few moments, he reached into the jacket's inner pocket and pulled out his straight razor. The thief's razor's scales were made of whalebone, with a spouting beast carved on one side and a vicious shark on the other. Brass rivets held it together, and the blade was made from the finest Damascus steel. The whorls in the blade's surface helped him to meditate, when that was what he needed. He left the blade closed and simply held it in his hand. It warmed to his touch, and he let his concentration flow out of the room around him. Simply held it in his hand. It warmed to his touch, and he let his concentration flow out of the room around him. Privacy was necessary for a business like this, but that didn't mean the madam was above using mystical means to gather information when she wanted it. He didn't sense any magical ears in the room. He did sense a ghost or two. They could tell him what they might have seen, but were just as likely to spin a tale that had little to do with reality. Being dead was a dreadful bore, and they had all the time in the world to make things up. His blade could convince them to tell the truth, but there was no need for that at this point. He put the razor back in his jacket and waited. There was a light knock, and the door opened. A statuesque redhead dressed in riding trousers and a man's shirt came in bearing a small tray with promised drinks. Door opened. A statuesque redhead dressed in riding trousers and a man's shirt came in bearing a small tray with the promised drinks. She poured him a cup of coffee and took the glass stopper from a brandy decanter. Will there be anything else, sir? Her voice was deep and rich. No, thank you. He took a sip of... Thank you. He took the coffee and sipped it. Very good. She nodded and backed out of the room. He returned to his waiting, going over what little information he had. Mr. Cravat was bothered by what he'd termed bad luck. When pressed for details, he said... I have to burp, and that's the wrong word. Pew! Luck. When pressed for details, he only said they would need to meet for Esho to understand. The door opened, and before Mr. Cravat fully entered the room, Esho smelled stagnant water and rot. His steps were a dragging thing, not the spry gait of a young man. Esho touched the pocket where his razor was. It could be used as a weapon, and there were advantages to it, but he didn't want to jump to any further conclusions. He could probably subdue any man or woman with his bare hands, unless they were much larger than he. He stood and faced the door. The figure that came through it was a wretch. Cravat's chest was unnaturally shallow, having a caved-in appearance. He was dressed in an ill-fitted fine suit. The sleeves were too short, and the trousers were buckled tightly to a lack. The sleeves were too short, and the trousers were buckled tightly due to a lack of apparent hips. His face was hidden in the shadow of a top hat and the swath of a scarf. Scarp? I tried to read the next word, and that didn't work. His face... Scarf, dude. But a scarp, it's the thing that... It's kind of like a scarf, and it's made out of a carp. Hips. His face was hidden in the shadow of a top hat and the swath of a scarf. It was cold outside, but not that cold. The only features Esho could make out were the eyes. They shone like a cat's, but were blue instead of green. Knotted, just below where the man's throat would have been, was a bright red tie.
Mr. St. Clair.
The voice bubbled and rattled, but the words were clear enough. He nodded. I am. You must be Mr. Cravat. Have a seat. He gestured towards the one next to him. Seat. He gestured to the one next to him. Nope. Have a seat. He gestured towards the one next to him, though he had no wish to sit near this man, if man he was. The top hat seemed to pivot.
I shall stand. I am on hard times. It hurts to do anything, but sitting or lying down is the worst. I am a cursed man, sir, and I beg you to take up my case.
Esho stood since his guest wouldn't sit. I don't usually ask clients this, sir, but you're a special case. What brings you to see me? You're a man of wealth. Your suit says so, and that you are known here means you have money in abundance. To hire someone like me, rather than going to one of the larger agencies, is odd. By way of an answer, Mr. Cravat lifted his gloved hands to his hat and removed it. The skin of his bald head was the green of lettuce gone rotten, with large blue splotches the color of robin's eggs. His eyes were pupilless, and where there should be a nose, there was little more than a bump on his face. The ears were just as vestigial. His skin had a sickly sheen, more oily than damp. A lesser man would have taken a step back. I see. Mr. Cravat held out his left hand and used his right to unwind the scarf. The further it unwound, the more damp it became. Eventually, the cloth, easily 3 yards long, landed on the floor with a slap. The man's neck bore... Thanks for the follow there, Big V. I appreciate you. Floor with a slap. With a slap. I lost my place. The slap. The man's neck bore vertical slashes like a shark's gills, his mouth lipless. The caricature of a frown revealed a toothless ridge of gum.
I am cursed, as you see.
The scent of dampness and rot was stronger now. I wonder if I can hear that. Hold on. The scent of dampness and rot was stronger now. Maybe I should just unfollow and refollow. Hey, how's it going, Kine? Kine, nay. Can't forget the last one. And thanks to whoever followed again. I didn't catch who followed that time. It actually didn't tell me. That's weird. But whoever followed, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. The scent of dampness and rot was stronger now. I'm going to try that one more time. Okay. The scent of dampness and rot was stronger now. The former came from his skin, and the latter in puffs from his mouth. Esho nodded slowly. An unnatural change has overcome you. I do not throw the word curse around lightly. Do you know what caused this? Cravat took a moment to retrieve his scarf. Cravat took a moment to retrieve his scarf and rewind it. Cravat took a moment to retrieve his scarf and rewind it.
I have enemies, Mr. St. Clair. I can only assume that one of them is responsible. One of my servants saw me this...
Rewind just a little bit. Right there.
Responsible. One of my servants saw me in this state and took pity on me. They gave me your name and a way to contact you.
His shoulders began to shake, and bloody streaks came from his eyes. They hadn't blinked once. There, man. Your servant did the right thing. I can help you. He resisted the urge to pat where the man's shoulder would have been.
Bless you, sir.
He reached out as if to hug Esho. Esho held up his hands. I would advise against coming into contact with anyone. I do not think what you have is contagious, but better to not take any chances. I haven't seen this particular manifestation before, but I have resources that may have. Is there someone you suspect most? This person would probably be something of a recluse. The power this takes requires time to master.
Could they have hired someone to do this?
Esho rubbed his chin. A change like this requires too much risk on the part of the practitioner. I cannot think of the amount of money that would make taking this risk beneficial. Pew! The uncomfortable writer, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Pew! Send of the pew likes. Pew and likes. Taking this risk beneficial. Beneficial. It didn't seem possible, but the hideous man collapsed on himself further.
I can think of no one.
Cravat let out an ear-splitting, soul-shivering howl. Esho pitied the creature. He stepped forward and placed a hand on the man's chest. The flesh underneath quivered like jelly. You must control yourself. If you let your humanity slip any further, there may be no getting you back. Cravat took a few shivering breaths.
Is there hope for me?
Esho set his shoulders. I do not make my clients any promises. There is hope for you, but it is a slim hope. I will discover who did this and make it right if it is at all within my power. Cravat tried to stand up straight, but gravity had none of it.
I will pay you anything you ask.
Had none of it.
I will pay anything you ask. I have my wealth. Name your price. And even if you cannot save me, I beg you to find out who did this and bring them to justice.
I will require $50 to begin with.
Such a paltry sum. I could pay you 100 times that.
Esho held out his palm to the man. I am not like most men. I will not take advantage. It is more than I usually charge, but only because of the extreme nature of this case. Have the money given to the mistress of this house. I can collect it from her. Now, this is the hardest part. I need to know your name.
I am Matthew Drake. My father is Thomas Drake of Drake Shipping.
Esho nodded. I shall continue to use your pseudonym to protect you.
How long do I have?
Esho touched the pocket where his razor lay and concentrated. The energies that made the change possible could be seen if one knew how to look. A few days, perhaps a week, no more.
Work quickly, Mr. St. Clair. I do wish to live, just not like this.
There was little Esho could do but nod. He could not imagine living like that creature even for an hour. He watched as Mr. Cravat recovered himself and left without another word. When he was younger, Esho would have rushed out into the world with no plan. Instead, he now took the time to stand and think, opening his mind to the possibilities. Nothing Esho had said was a lie, but there were ways a less experienced person could have effected the change. Some books and artifacts could give the uninitiated that power, usually at the price of their sanity. Since time was short, and he wanted to make sure he didn't overlook anything, he decided that this case called for help. He left the lovely little house of ill repute and walked towards another, equally... He left for help. He left the lovely little house of ill repute and walked towards another equally disreputable. The pew like threw me off. Let's try that again. Thank you for the likes, though. I appreciate you. For help. He left the lovely little house. For help. He left the lovely little house of ill repute and walked towards another equally disreputable establishment. It being Sunday, no place could legally serve beer or liquor. That meant there were plenty of places that served it illegally. Esho needed the help of a man who wouldn't go a day without beer. Wouldn't, and in fact, couldn't. Sean Younger would be in the beer hall, or he would be dead. The one he frequented on Sundays was close enough. Esho knocked loudly. A small peephole slid open and shut again. The stout wooden door opened, and his senses were assaulted by smoke and stale beer. The room was small, a little more than 15 feet long and 6 wide. By this afternoon, it would be filled with men who needed a drink after worshipping their god. Esho thanked El that his own relationship with the divine required no such worship. For the moment, it was only the doorkeeper, the bartender, and a huge Irishman. The latter was his friend Sean, who could have gripped the door guard by his head and pitched him a good dozen feet. Sean wore the common workman's attire of denim trousers, stout. Sean wore the common workman's attire of denim trousers, stout leather boots, and a red and blue checkered shirt. He didn't have the sorts of bulging muscles that you got by lifting heavy things in a mind-numbingly repetitive fashion. These came from mostly a range of hard work, not the least of which was fisticuffs. What made him most visibly impressive was his height. At nearly 7 feet tall, he was the biggest man Esho had ever met. Their eyes met in the mirror opposite the bar.
What the hell? I didn't know we allowed Negroes in this establishment.
Sean pointed his finger at the bartender.
This is your doing.
The bartender, a short and rotund German fellow, looked helplessly from Sean to Esho. Esho held out his hands and shrugged. It's no worse than a drunken Paddy. At least I have money to pay this man. He nodded to the bartender. Sean turned and smiled.
"'Tis good to see ya, St. Clair. Sit down, and I'll stand you a pint."
Esho sat, and the bartender soon had a glass in front of him. He nodded his thanks and sipped. He swallowed and considered Sean. I have a job for you, I think.
You think? Come and get me when you're sure.
Esho ignored the man. First, we need to talk. My client has plenty of money. I just want to make sure that my thinking is taking me on the right paths before I pursue any leads.
I can be your sounding board.
He held out his hand. Esho produced a coin and laid it on his palm. The money disappeared with a twist of Sean's sausage-like fingers.
Talk away. That will get you about 5 minutes.
The family involved is one of this town's more wealthy ones.
So, this is a paying job.
Esho nodded. That also makes this a sensitive one. I have to confront some people who are not used to being confronted by anyone, much less someone who's likely to remind them of their servants. He sipped at the beer again. It might also mean venturing into the Undercity. Sean smiled.
I like where this is going. Continue.
It involves a transformation of a kind I haven't seen since Philadelphia. It was cultists then, and it might be cultists now.
The ones screaming about tentacled horrors?
The very same. I didn't know that they were present in Manhattan. I'm not surprised, but from the looks of my client, they have energies available that the ones in Pennsylvania did not.
I can see why you called me in. So, we need to make damn sure that we are dealing with that a lot. Then you can go talk to these high and mighty ones.
And we may run into the high and mighty ones in our search. Sean barked at the bartender.
Hines, stick!
The bartender reached under his bar. Oh, I almost missed the heart. I got like the very end of it. Thank you there, Steve. How's it going, buddy? The bartender. All right, let's get back to our Irishman here. Oh, thank you for the follow there. Was it Gabby65? Thank you so much.
Stick!
The bartender reached under his bar and produced a slightly curved stick that Sean was known for cracking heads with. It was used in some barbaric Irish game. Esho smiled. I take it this means you're going with me.
Try and keep me away. You do have to pay me, but it's been a while since I had a good tussle, so I'll enjoy it.
He grabbed a blue derby and covered his close-shorn, coarse ginger hair with it. Esho finished his beer and laid a bill on the table as payment. I need to go by my office and pick up a few things. Then we'll go. Are you sufficiently energized? He pointed to the bar. Sean cut a path through the air with his stick.
I've been drinking since sunup. I think I'll be fine.
The sound effects are killing me this evening. I love them. I love them, though. Thank you for the rose there. Vela fracture, Carrie. And then I think there was another one in there too, but I missed it. Whatever it was, thank you. I appreciate you. Just know that.
I've been drinking since sunup. I think I'll be fine.
Pew! I think he'll be fine too. Pew!
I'll be fine.
There was no uncertainty in Sean's gait as the two men made their way onto the street.
Now that we're out here, can you talk more freely?
I won't reveal my client's name, and if you guess it, I will deny it, but he believes his father is behind this transformation. That, in and of itself, may give you enough information. Sean stroked his chin.
Fish heads, money, and curses. If you put me on the spot, I'd think I'd guess Drake.
Esho grinned. As I said, I will not confirm that, but I can see why you'd make that assumption. Sean grunted thickly.
I now know why you'd want to keep it mum. If you're wrong...
You're wrong?
Thickly. I know now why you'd want to keep mum. If you're wrong, then it's your head on a pike. Well, me boyo.
He slapped Esho on the shoulder.
Right or wrong, we'll find out who this is, and they'll be sorry they crossed your man.
Sean's strength, unarmed fighting skills, and special talents would keep the Irishmen safe, but if they were to venture into the Undercity, Esho would want to be armed. He knew some spells that were useful in combat. However, if things got nasty, he preferred a blade to magic. Spells took a lot out of him, so he also had a few trinkets that would help. Neither he nor Sean had much use for firearms. They weren't as reliable as fists or blades, and were far too noisy. A trio stepped out from the alley just noisy. A trio stepped out from an alley just up ahead. The alley just noisy. A trio stepped out from an alley just up ahead. They appear different They appear different than Sean's own.
"Excuse me, mister?"
The lead man drawled. I love it. It never gets old. Thank you for, I think that was a follow, right? Oh, no, it was a repost. Thank you for the repost, Caps. I appreciate you. The lead man. All right. Back to the seriousness.
"Mister?"
The lead man drawled.
"You wouldn't..."
And another share. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you. Let's try that again. The lead man.
"Mister?"
The lead man drawled.
"You wouldn't happen to have a fiver to help out with a powerful thirst?"
Sean gripped his curved stick.
"The gentleman and I have things to do. Thirsty? Buy your own drink, or work till you can." "Now, that's no way to talk."
The shortest of the three, no more than 5 feet from foot to toe head. He pulled a sharp knife from his coveralls.
"We's just trying to encourage generosity from our neighbors."
Esho reached into his pants pocket and touched the straight razor. He could sense, once in connection with the blade, that these three were no mere ruffians. They were trolls, disguised by magic. And there we are. There's the first little bit of our story. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, this was the Casebook of Esho St. Clair, Volume 1. The first part of the first tale. There's 2 in this collection. And we read from the Gibbering Mr. Cravat. So, hopefully, and I think it may still work if somebody types in exclamation point book. Hopefully it works. Give you a little information about the book and where you can pick it up if you'd like. Thank you for all the gifts. I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you, Amanda. And then thank you for the repost there, Nick. Appreciate you. Hopefully that works. And let me know, Amanda, if it does. The weird thing about it is how I have it like set up. I can't see when it actually types it into the chat. But apparently it does. Oh, thank you for the rose there, Kanene. It worked. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's where you can pick it up from the place that we cannot mention, but we can say Zon. I think other people see it. I'm not sure. But if you're curious, type in exclamation point book if you didn't see it, and it should type it into chat there. Same thing with exclamation point author, and you'll find out a little information about Scott Roche, the author of this fantastic tale. And I think a pretty good introduction to Gaslamp fantasy. Didn't know what it was, like I said at the beginning, until I was introduced to this book. And now all of a sudden, I really want to read more Gaslamp fantasy. I'm going to finish this one first. But I want to read more in the genre. It's cool. It's like Victorian era mixed with fantasy, obviously, and a little bit of a like steampunk in there too, you know? It's got magic and monsters and the Undercity and curses, apparently. So, and a big Irish man with a huge stick. And again, our whiskey tonight for Whiskey Wednesday. We did something new again. We have this, I have like all these samplers from a place called Flaviar. And they like have different themes or whatever. This one happened to be a theme from a single distillery in Scotland called, I have to read the back of the thing again, Kilhaman. And this particular one that we're trying tonight is the Sanig. But it's kind of cool. They give you like 3 little samples, usually themed, of different things. And we're trying this one tonight. They say the tasting notes. We talked about that too. White pepper, white chocolate, vanilla, smoky, definitely smoky, raisin, pineapple, dried fruit, malted barley, and peaty. Definitely peaty. Very, very strong, smoky, peaty flavor. And actually not a lot of overwhelming sweetness either. So if you're not a fan of like the sweet stuff, this one might be for you. But it is definitely Scotch. It just doesn't have that like turpentine aftertaste. But it's very like burny, right? It's strong. But good stuff. Great whiskey. Great story. What could be better? So next Whiskey Wednesday. Oh, I didn't bring up the thing. Let me bring it up here real quick so I can give you a sneak peek of what we got going on next Whiskey Wednesday. Tomorrow, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be back here in the booth recording our Chosen One trilogy of our Irish vampire who's slaying demons with the help of the Archangel Ariel. So if you want to tune into that, hopefully tomorrow, right around the same time, 6 p.m. PST, I'll be narrating that again if everything goes okay. Let me pull up here our master sheet so that I can tell what we got going on for next Whiskey Wednesday. Did you guys enjoy that one? I liked it a lot. I didn't know about the Gaslamp fantasy genre. That was new to me. So I don't know if it's been around forever or if it's something fairly new, and I've been under a rock and it's been around forever. I don't know. That's probably the case. There we go. Whiskey Wednesday. Master sheet. Okay, here we go. Never heard of that genre, but sounds very cool. Yeah, at least I'm not the only one. It's pretty cool, though. I like the idea of it. Okay, so we got... This one was Scott Roche. So, yes, on the 21st next week, we'll have Bailey Johnson's Don't Leave Me Behind. And it is a contemporary romance. So if that sounds like something you might want to stop by and listen to, please stop by at 6 p.m. PST on the 21st, next Wednesday. So I will see you there. I'll finish out my whiskey, and maybe we'll just save B and C for next time. Probably just B. We never get it through a full tasting of our whiskeys anyways. It's so good. A cowboy small town romance. Oh, okay, cool. You have a little bit more information. So I'm guessing you know Bailey Johnson then. You know a little bit more about the story. Yeah, I have like a little like synopsis of the story, but I haven't like read through it yet because I haven't done my read through. I do. Ooh, awesome. Well, I know Amanda will be here, so if you want to be like the cool kids like Amanda, then I've read her book. Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, I'm interested to get in and read that one. We haven't done a lot of just contemporary romances on whiskey. To get in and read that one. We haven't done a lot of just contemporary romances on Whiskey Wednesday. There we go. Did it like freak out there for a second? Anyways, it's on my calendar. I will. Awesome. Oh, you did an arc read too. Cool. Very cool. So then you're really familiar with the tale. Well, I better not mess it up then. Like I was saying, we haven't done a lot of contemporary romances on Whiskey Wednesday. We've done male-male romance. We've done a really spicy, what do they call it? BDSM one. And then another one. Oh, it was what's the genre where it's like is it just romance, I guess, or like spicy romance where there's like an implied fetish. This one happened to be their fetish was serial killers. That one was super interesting. I've never read anything like that before. But yeah, just contemporary romance. I want to say we've done one maybe overall. So this will be good. We'll get to another one. So we'll mix it up. We'll go from Gaslamp fantasy to contemporary romance. So it should be a lot of fun. Pew! Thank you for the likes there. I'm loving all the sound effects. I might have to turn them down in my ear, though, going forward, because they are pretty distracting, because they make me want to laugh. But anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to Flaviar, I guess, for providing these. Like they gave them to me. I bought them a long time ago, but they're still good. Thanks for making them, I guess. They were tasty. But yeah, next week, Bailey Johnson, Don't Leave Me behind. I'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Danielle 5! Hello! You caught me right at the very end. I'm sorry. I gotta go. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.